What's up everyone, King Crab's back again, and today we are playing some Mono Flying. This type is really solid, especially this generation. I feel with the introduction of heavy duty boots, I think it's already a good type, but I think it really came into its own. And we also got some really nice new tools this generation, like Corviknight, Galarian Zapdos, and now in the NatDex we even have Megas back, and one of my favorite flying types to use, Honchkrow, so looking forward to talking about those. So quickly before we jump into the team, if you do enjoy my content and you want to see me grow to the heights of some of these birds, definitely leave a like, a comment. They help me out so much and I really appreciate those. And with that, let's jump right into the team. So first up we have Galarian Zapdos, and it's going to be a max speed Jolly with max attack, and it's going to be my main form of speed control on the team. You'll see shortly the team isn't the fastest, it's kind of more of a bulky pivoting team. But the Choice Scarf is super important, and 328 speed lets me outspeed some key threats like Choice Scarf Tapu Lele or Indeedee or a good number of other Choice Scarfers, so it's a decent tier, a speed tier. Defiant is a fantastic ability. It essentially allows us to block things like Protect, not Protect, Intimidate even. And the reason it does that is because every time my stats are lowered a stage, I guarantee 2 stages of attack. So Intimidate would lower me to -1. Defiant will kick in, I get +1, so it blocks Intimidate to stop me from sweeping. It can be nice to swap in on a Defog, for example, gain +2 attack, and suddenly Zapdos becomes a massive threat. Unfortunately, and some people ask me, or some people wonder, does it work with close combat because I'm lowering my own stats? No, it doesn't. That would be absolutely busted if it did, only when your opponent lowers your stats. Either way, moveset wise, we have U-turn. U-turn's great for grabbing momentum. We can kind of come in, threaten something to KO them with this fast Choice Scarfer, and U-turn on their swap to keep momentum, which is very important for this team. We have Close Combat, which is a very good spammable move, especially against things like Ice, Steel, Rock, kind of matchups that would ordinarily give Flying some hassle, so Close Combat is a very strong and quite spammable move, except for Ghost types. Next up we have Brave Bird. Brave Bird pairs fairly well with Close Combat. It hits most things Close Combat doesn't, which is quite nice. And again, it's just very strong stab. Not as spammable because we do have 33% recoil and my HP isn't the highest. 3-2-1, it's not bad, but we're gonna die after 2 or 3 Brave Birds at full HP if we keep spamming it. And finally we have Blaze Kick. Some people, I believe, run Stomping Tantrum, I think it is. I like Blaze Kick personally because it hits Ferrothorn even stronger. It hits some ice types, maybe like Frostlass that could eat a close combat, for example, and its high critical hit ratio is quite nice against things like Corviknight. Iron Defense Corviknight can often be crit, and which will do a lot of damage to it. So next up we have Mega Charizard Y, and it's kind of a different-ish Charizard. You'll be kind of surprised to see it's a mech special attack with a modest nature. You generally see a timid nature. I kind of like modest because it gives you that extra bit of oomph. This thing hits ridiculously hard in the sun, and the modest gives you that bit extra power. We have infinitely spammable flamethrower in the sun outside of things like a flash fire. Solar Beam is nice in the sun as well because we do get the instant Solar Beam, which can catch water types off guard. You can also run Air Slash if you want a nice bit of stab, but I kind of like Solar Beam for us as like catching those water types off guard. Also hits rock types super effectively, which is quite nice. Another type that this team kind of struggles with. Next up we have Scorching Sands. Scorching Sand is pretty much only there for Heatran. Heatran does kind of give my team trouble, so generally speaking, if they have a Heatran, I'll probably Solar Beam on the turn they're going to swap in to pop their balloon, and suddenly that can Scorching Sands KO them. Other than that, generally speaking, Flamethrower is your spammable move unless they have something to resist it, because it's very strong. Next up we have Roost for longevity, and Roost is just nice because this thing can kind of work very well against very defensive teams. It kind of crumbles to offense, so you won't be able to roost in front of those, but against defensive, maybe sub-spamming teams or protect spamming teams, we could potentially get roosts up. Solar Power is there against the rare time we fight the fighting matchup, is to ensure that we get the 1.5 times special attack boost before we Mega Evolve, which I believe ends up being slightly more powerful than if I Mega Evolve. Also worth noting that make sure your Charizard has uneven HP, otherwise if you swap in on 2 Stealth Rocks he will die. This way we'll survive at 1 HP, it's just based on the way the Pokemon rounds mechanics. So instead of Roost, if you want some speed control, you can use Tailwind. It can really catch off people off guard, especially if you are modest. It's going to do a lot of damage, and a lot of choice scarfers won't even be able to come in and revenge kill, which is kind of fun. So next up we have my personal favorite Pokemon to use on the team, Honchkrow. With its impressive 125 base attack, it hits pretty nice levels of attack with 383, and that's before our Life Orb boost, so this thing does hit pretty strong. Its HP is naturally quite good, which is okay. It can occasionally soak up one hit. Its defenses are quite poor though. Speed tier is pretty poor, but it hits 241, which is kind of important because it can outspeed base 240 Pokemon. So it's like Aegislash, which is kind of nice, I suppose. It's not that important, but that extra bit of speed is quite good. Moveset wise, we have Sucker Punch, which is very strong, and it pairs especially well with Moxie, so every time I get a KO, my attack is going to go up a stage, and this thing's already quite strong, so it hits very high levels of attack very fast. Especially with Life Orb, Sucker Punch at +1 can really put the hurt on so many revenge killers, especially choice scarfers who are kind of frail and trying to pick off my opponent in the late game. A Sucker Punch can do a lot of damage. Pursuit is very good for trapping Pokemon, especially if they lock themselves into psychic moves, maybe against Zapdos, for example. They want to hit a Choice Scarf psychic move. Honchkrow can come in and Pursuit trap them, gaining a +1 attack after Moxie, and then being able to potentially Sucker Punch sweep. Brave Bird is a nice, just absolute wall breaker. 120 base stab with Adamant Nature and Life Orb is going to hit super hard. Again, especially after maybe a Pursuit Trap or a Sucker Punch KO, it's very good in the end game. And finally we have Superpower, which is very good for breaking steel types, especially things like Ferrothorn, because generally speaking Ferrothorn's probably not going to attack me. I'm opting up to the Sucker Punch, Pursuit's very weak, and Brave Bird's going to take a ton of recoil. Now, unfortunately, Superpower does lower my attack and defense, so it kind of negates the Moxie boost I get afterwards, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. A lot of Pokemon have to swap out after one Superpower. Honchkrow can potentially stay in after the Superpower and gain its minus attack back with Moxie. Next up we have Landorus Therian. It's going to be a physically bulky Landorus Therian with max attack, adamant, and max HP. With Intimidate, it can eat a decent amount of physical attacks. Its HP stat is respectable, but more importantly, it's very strong. 427 attack is absolutely very powerful. Leftovers is quite nice for longevity because this thing can generally swap in on Stealth Rocks thanks to its Park Ground typing. Also, thanks to its Park Ground typing, we can eat electric type attacks, which is super important for the team. Moveset wise, we have Knockoff, generally just good team support. It's also very strong, coming off my extremely high attack stat. We have Stab Earthquake, not much in the tier can eat a Stab Earthquake unless it resists or is immune. Stab Earthquake from Landorus is going to be very powerful. It absolutely smashes through poison teams, which can be kind of difficult for my team. My team's kind of a slower bulky pivot team, so things like poison can easily shut me down, which is why Earthquake is so important. We have Stealth Rock again for team support. It's good to just generally chip away my opponent slowly and prevent them from swapping out, because ideally we want to swap out a lot. We want to reduce my opponent from swapping out too much, or if they do, punish them with Stealth Rocks. Next up we have U-Turn, which is good for longevity, so we could potentially swap into Landorus, get the Intimidate off on a physical attacker. They might want to swap it out then because they're -1 attack, in which case we can U-Turn to keep momentum, and momentum is super important for this team. I cannot stress enough how important momentum is. Next up we have especially defensive Corviknight, with max HP, max Spadef, Careful Nature. On paper 295 doesn't seem too good, but 319 HP is quite a lot. As well as that we have Leftovers for longevity, we have Roost for longevity, and Pressure to potentially stall out a lot of special attackers. Pressure is really good as well because with my Steel typing we can potentially just Roost spam on Blizzard, on Ice Beam, on so many ice moves. Corviknight can Roost stall those out. You're probably sick of me hearing me say this by now, but we have U-Turn again to keep momentum. Very important for the team. We can swap in on Ice type maybe. It does like 20% or something, and then they're going to have to swap out. We can U-Turn and always keep momentum. Getting my important wall breakers like Charizard or Honchkrow in whenever I can, and commence sweeps. Next up we have Iron Head. Iron Head is good for those ice types I mentioned, rock types as well. Even fairy types can give my team a bit of trouble, so Iron Head is just generally pretty good stab. And on particularly slow Pokemon we can also potentially flinch them, which is nice to have. We have Roost for longevity. It also removes my flying type, which is quite good against very slow, maybe like electric type Pokemon. If I Roost, which I know very slow electric Pokemon doesn't really exist, but a slow electric attack user maybe. Roosting removes my flying typing, so we can potentially mess around with my weaknesses that way. Also, double-edged sword. You have to watch out not to Roost on an Earthquake, for example. You will lose your flying type, become pure steel, and potentially die to an Earthquake. Not good. And finally, we have Defog, because obviously as a flying team, it's very important that I keep rocks off my side of the field at all costs, so Defog is quite good. It is buggy, you have to get Defog plenty of times within the match. Finally, we have Dragonite. Dragonite with heavy duty boots is so good. I absolutely love the heavy duty boots on Dragonite, and the reason for that is it lets me come in at almost guaranteed full HP, which lets me use multi-scale, which halves damage when at full HP. I cannot stress how amazing that is. So even Ice Beams are hard to KO Dragonite with, because multi-scale is going to half the damage when I'm at full HP. It already has naturally pretty good bulk with decent HP, and is very strong with base 134 attack, and 80 speed is not great, it's respectable. But what's very good about Dragonite is it can get faster thanks to Dragon Dance. So if I Dragon Dance up, I'm going to get +1 attack, +1 speed, which makes this thing extremely powerful, extremely fast. Even if things do still outspeed us, we potentially have extreme speed, which can be very good priority. It can take care of weakened opponents or potentially Choice Scarf Revenge Killers. We have Dragon Claw. I went for Dragon Claw over Outrage because there is the odd team that has a part fairy on it, making Outrage not that spammable. It can be blocked pretty easy if you have a fairy type. So I think for that small bit less power, I like Dragon Claw for the reliability. And finally, Earthquake again. And Earthquake is good for steel types, rock types. It's just generally a very strong attack to have. So with that, let's jump into some games. But before we do, I want to ask you, what is your favorite flying type Pokemon? For me, it's a hard answer because in general, I really like birds. I think they're very fascinating creatures and they're really interesting to learn about. But at the moment, I think I'm going to go left field and say Fearow. There's something about Fearow I've always quite liked growing up with Generation 1, and even to this day, I just think it's a very cool, well-designed looking, but simple bird Pokemon. And with that, let's jump into some games. So we have a game here against Mono Steel. Honestly, Togedemaru can be a bit of trouble for my team. I think I want to keep things like Landorus healthy for that. Though I do like Landorus as a lead to potentially knock off something like Skarmory, as they have an Excadrill. I'm still going to knock off here just in case they go into Skarm. Okay, they go straight for a Stealth Rock. That's okay with me. As long as I don't flinch here. Of course I flinched there. I had to will that into existence. I value Corviknight, I think, for potentially Caesar, and I definitely want to defog later in the game. We'll just knock off again. Oh my god, 2 flinches, really? That's pretty bad for me. I'm gonna go Corv here. Worst case, we can potentially pressure stall their Stealth Rocks, if I have to, because I do want to get rid of their rocks quite badly. And I have pressure, so I do have more than they have. Okay, they go to Jirachi. Is this like Z Celebrate? That's Scout with Landorus in case they want to click T-Bolt there. T-Wave, okay. That's pretty good for me. Because we get a free knockoff here again. Knocking Steel as leftovers is good. Yeah, that's good. Because I probably like that Leech Seed annoying set. I'm just going to go straight and U-turn into my... I was going to say Charizard, but I don't think I should. Let's go Corviknight and pivot through Corviknight into Charizard. So on the Protect, we'll go Charizard. We have Roost as well, which is good for longevity. And they don't have Heatran, which is very good for Charizard, because I can click Flamethrower here and just secure any KO I want. I do have to kind of worry about Excadrill, especially if it's Rock Slide. So I'm going to go Corviknight here, every time. By the looks of it, they really can't threaten my Corviknight much. So that's okay with me. I'm going to defog once. And the reason I'm defogging here is I'm kind of just stalling them out. Starting out their iron heads as much as possible. If they choose a stealth rock, I can defog away. Will you turn? Here. And they... Are they going to rocks this turn? Let's defog one more time. I'm really not sure what this Jirachi is. It doesn't look like it can threaten Landers too much. And I still think I value Corvi for Excadrill. Actually, it's probably not Rock Slide. Based on that moveset, I'm guessing its last move is Earthquake, which means maybe Charizard can do some good damage to it. Will you turn here? Okay, they end up T-waving me. Not the end of the world. Because here we can get out Charizard. And again, just claim a KO with Flamethrower. Assuming they're not max speed. Nice. So getting rid of their Rocker and their Hazard Setter is really good for me. In fact, I don't even know if they have anything to outspeed me. Okay, Togedemaru could outspeed, so we're going to go to Lando here. I don't want to get nuzzled on Zard. And just within the interest of trying to chip down Caesar as much as possible, I think I'm going to get my rocks up. And they end up forfeiting, so rocks there were pretty handy. I didn't actually expect the Spiky Shield to come out. I just wanted Skarmory and Caesar to have some bit of pressure on them, taking 12.5% every time they swap in. So with that, let's pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Fire. Now this is looking like a pretty tough game. I honestly think Cinderace can give my team a lot of trouble. I actually quite like Charizard here. Solar Power or just Mega Evolving in general is going to be quite strong, even though I don't necessarily hit everything super effectively. Flamethrower is still going to be quite nice. And of course we love Dragonite and Lando. Corvi unfortunately doesn't have too much of a role. I think we'll open up with Lando. As they open up Cinderace. Interesting. I'm okay to just knock this off turn 1. I won't Earthquake in case they go into Zard or Rotom. And they Pyro Ball for quite a bit of damage. Either way, we take their Life Orb, which means we guarantee live the next hit. I'll Earthquake here. Part of me wants Rocks down. And to try and force in the Torkoal, but in case, and the big off chance this is court change, it's very bad for me. So we'll just Earthquake again. Ah, they went into Zard. I knew it was a possibility, but I wasn't brave enough to do anything about it. So we can sack Corvi here. I feel like Corvi is kinda useless. Especially if it's Charizard Y. Charizard X might be a bit more trouble for me. Because we can outspeed Charizard Y with Zapdos, and we have good priority on Honchkrow and Dragonite. I actually really like Honchkrow in this game. I think it's really strong in the end game to continuously Sucker Punch things. Ah, it's X. You hate to see it. Now, they might not be Flare Blitz, so what we're going to do here is U-turn. And try and drop their attack again with Lando. I feel like I died to Dragon Claw. But we'll Earthquake just in case we don't. The attack drop here is actually really good for me. I mean, Dragonite will live one. At neutral, with multi-scale, Dragonite should live. Oh, they Fire Punch. Okay, this is great. We definitely take that really good pick. I feel like Lando has pretty much done his job, and we're actually going to sack Corvi here. It's pretty useless in the endgame. And this lets me potentially outspeed Cinderace here with Zapdos. I could also set up a Dragon Dance with my Dragonite. And that can potentially force in Rotom afterwards. No, I think we go for the safe option and just use Zapdos to get a kill here. Or do I U-turn? I kind of want to U-turn on the Torkoal. We'll just Brave Bird. Unfortunately, with Corvi gone, we do lose access to Defog, which isn't great in the long run. I really want to U-turn on Torkoal. I'll Brave Bird. Ah, I knew I should have U-turned. I didn't have it in me. But here we can go into Charizard. They're probably going to get their rocks up here. So by the looks of it, it might be a Honchkrow endgame. I want a Scorching Sands, but I also want a Flamethrower on Rotom. We'll Scorching Sands here. I'm making such bad plays. I know what to do, but I don't have the courage to do it, unfortunately. So we'll just Flamethrower. I think I'm actually stronger if I don't Mega Evolve here. Just because of Solar Power. I guess technically they could go into Volcanion here and easily wall this out as well. But damage on Rotom isn't a bad thing. By any stretch of the imagination. Putting that in range of Honchkrow is very good for me. And we're actually going to Roost here, I think. As they Volt Switch, presumably. Wilted a lot. Now, obviously, whatever comes in will live a hit. But if I can kind of wall out their screen turns and then get in Honchkrow later in the game, I think I'm in a very strong position. So they're taking Volcarona. They're probably just going to spam Quiver Dance for a while. And on that, we can just Flamethrower here. It's not going to do a huge amount. I mean, 29% isn't bad. It will eventually put it in range of probably Dragonite's Earthquake into Extreme Speed, especially if I can stall out the Reflect turns. Okay, I'm going to risk a Roost here. Yeah, no, I'm going to die after this. But I think I'm in the position where Dragonite should live one. And I think Earthquake into Extreme Speed should kill. And if not, as I said, I'm still in a decent position here with Honchkrow. Yeah, we did that quite nicely. Now, just hope this doesn't burn me. Ah, of course, Flame Body burnt. That's not ideal, but I still think we're strong enough to kill the Rotom. Which is good for me. So I think Dragon Claw still kills. Deny their screens. Very good for me. I think it kind of comes down to how well I play my Honchkrow. Let's Extreme Speed here. If I didn't get Flame Bodied, I think Dragonite would have just won the endgame. Very good for me. Getting rid of Cinderace is pretty much the next biggest threat. What can they do to me? I'll just Quake. Again, putting this in range of Honchkrow is very good for me. Okay. This endgame got very, very tough. I go into Londo and Quake, and I get a KO here. Part of me wants to rock. Actually, I really want to rock. Because if I rock, Cinderace isn't an issue. Does Honchkrow kill this? Let's find out. Because if it does, it's an easy... Torkoal, we'll call it Sunsetter. Brave Bird does 44 to 53, so I'm pretty sure I rock here. Let myself die to Plume. And then hope I get the Brave Bird roll I need. It's very much in my favor. Oh my god, I got min roll. That really, really sucks for me. Oh no, and I don't think I'm gonna kill Volcanion either. I'm really upset I got min roll. Because I think Sucker Punch then into Volcanion. Volcanion, let's just assume it's a bulky attacker, for example. Would +1 Sucker Punch kill? If it's bulky, I guess it wasn't guaranteed. GG. So my opponent definitely played well there. I should have trusted my instinct a lot more. Unfortunately, it led to a loss there. And I'm pretty salty about that moon roll. But with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Ground. This matchup can be kind of tough. I do value Charizard a lot here, I think. Strangely enough. In fact, we're going to open up Charizard. As they open up Landorus. I feel they're not gonna rock slide me here. So let's go straight for a flamethrower and do as much damage to this they rock slide me. Famous last words. Okay. That was a really bad start to the game. So we lost probably my best tool against them. Just because I got cocky. And by the looks of it, yeah, knockoff isn't doing a huge amount. So they get free rocks here. So what we're going to do is U-turn into my Corviknight. And they're toxic. Okay, not bad. I mean, I can afford to pressure stall them somewhat. And we always defog away their rocks here. So it looks like Honchkrow is going to have to work overtime in this game. But even still, it's very difficult for me to break Hippo. Okay, they can't actually touch my Corvi. Which means I can potentially defog forever. They're probably going to go for a knockoff. Let's go into Lando here. That did quite a lot. And we're going to get our own rocks up here. With Earthquake once. I think they rock here. And then go into Corvi to maybe waste a Toxic. This looks like it's going to be quite a long game. I can't believe I risked my Charizard turn 1. That was honestly such a bad play. And they actually ended up breaking my Dragonite's multi-scale, which is very bad for me. Thankfully, they are very limited on rocks, which is good. Unfortunately, they can kind of go into Lando over and over again. And I don't really have much of an answer to it. Shorter trying to knock it off. Because they go into Hippo here again. I guess we'll Earthquake for some chip. If I somehow manage to get rid of all their Toxic and Stealth Rock PP, which is much easier said than done, I'm in a pretty good position then. Ooh, good play. I think I'll just accept getting knocked off here, because I can always roost off anyway. And here, I go into Honchkrow, and I think I just start doing a ton of damage or something. Oof, that did a lot more than I expected. But Brave Bird did a ton. And we can actually Pursuit Trap this here. Excellent. So that is a big threat taken care of. And nothing particularly like swapping on a +1 Honchkrow. I mean, I'm still going to Brave Bird you. Okay, that did a lot less than I expected. But I potentially have this in range of a KO with Lando. Now they could easily go into Gliscor. And I'm actually going to knock them off. No, I thought they'd go into Gliscor there. Okay, we're Earthquake here. The game isn't unwinnable. I think Corviknight is still very strong here. Yeah, Corviknight is still quite strong here. So we can roost this. That looks to be banded damage. Based on how much it's doing. Now this is probably like Scald Gastrodon. And I do not want Dragonite getting burnt, but I don't think I have much of an option. I can't kill it otherwise. Oh, it's Ice Beam. I was not expecting that, to be honest. Okay, we're gonna have to stall with Gastrodon, I think. And they get the Scald Burn. Not good for me. I honestly don't think I have the Roost PP to be doing this. Yeah, I'm taking way too much every turn. They still have 9 Scalds with plenty of Ice Beams left, so I'm going to call it a game there. I don't see myself winning that. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Psychic, which is a pretty cool looking team. Their Deoxys speed is troublesome for me, to say the least. I do absolutely adore Honchkrow in this game, especially once Tapu Lele is taken care of. It does so much work. We're going to knock off here turn 1. They could Glaciate, I suppose, which is bad for me, but other than that, I don't see them being able to KO Lando in one turn. I guess Corvi kind of always walls out Tapu Lele though, so once Lele and especially Gallade are taken care of, I think Honchkrow just kind of goes crazy in the endgame. Between Pursuit Trapping and Sucker Punch, I think he can put in an insane amount of work. Okay. They're going to give me damage on Lando. I mean, they actually give me Lati. We'd take those. Especially because Victini is kind of massive Honchkrow bait. It's pretty good for me. I guess technically Gardevoir could be kind of scary. We'll knock here. They're probably going to try to get the rocks down. Oh, they actually end up Psychicking. That was Choice Specs. That did nothing. What is Deoxys Speeds? Special attack. Only 95. Okay. It's not that high, I suppose. We always go Corvi here. If they double into Victini, great play. Oh, it's a dual screens. That's really interesting. Or at least a Reflect. So we're actually just gonna defog this away. I do not care to have their terrain up. And we go Lando. Okay, we died to V-Create, but at this point, I really want to try Pursuit Trap this. I outspeed, assuming it's banded. Let's check if the calc would make a difference. Victini. So at -1, at -2, it still kills my Lando. So unfortunately, I cannot tell with that information. I guess we can go Dragonite here. We kind of get a free Earthquake. We can take damage on Lele. Quite a lot of damage as well. So we go Corvi here. Again, if they double into Victini, great play. Unfortunately, I cannot tell if that's Choice Scarf or Banded based on the V-Create damage. I want to assume it's Choice Scarf based on their team, but I don't want to throw my Honchkrow, which is absolutely my win condition here. We'll defog here again. Because if they go into Victini, I can always go into Dragonite and then just click Earthquake again, which is, again, quite strong. This isn't much of an issue. I always go Dragonite. Now I can calculate if this is banded or not. That did 24%. Okay, it's Choice Scarf. No, I'm not sure. Is it Adamant Scarf? Yeah, I think it's Adamant Scarf. Either way, we Earthquake. We happily take Tapu Lele. It makes Corviknight, honestly, a lot less useful now in the endgame. Its main purpose, I think, was to tank Lele. We're actually going to try U-turn here on Victini coming in. So that's Adamant Scarf. I don't think it kills Dragonite. And we can Earthquake here. All I really have to do is get rid of their terrain, and then I'm pretty sure Honchkrow wins the game. Between Honchkrow and Zapdos, I think the game should be mine. I love Dragonite. What a cool flying type. So I don't think Bolt Strike KOs here. Let's just assume I'm down 1 HP just to break multi-scale. Yeah, Bolt Strike shouldn't KO. Even if it crits. And I believe Earthquake kills. 72 to 85? Oh no, it doesn't actually. I mean, that's fine. Honestly, if they want to V-crate me twice, that's probably even better for me, because I can Pursuit Trap with Honchkrow and instantly get a +1. If they want to take a move, that is. Flying's a weird type. It's the kind of type that I think in concept it's really cool. I really like birds in general. Unfortunately, a lot of the mons I use aren't birds. Okay, the U-turn. We'll take Earthquake Chip on something. That's not a problem for me. On Gallade, that is exactly what I want to see the chip on. So unless they're Ice Punch, I don't think they can KO me. And they're Ice Punch. Interesting. That's fine. Zapdos should be able to KO this. Honestly, Zapdos is very strong in the endgame too. Now the question is, do they give me damage on Gardevoir? Yes, they do, which I probably need quite badly. Oh, they just give me Gardevoir full stop. So I think this forces them to Ball Strike. And then I just Sucker Punch with Honchkrow, and I should win the game. I'm assuming a Ball Strike comes out here. Oh, a V-Crate comes out. I mean, that just definitely secures me the game. We'll Sucker Punch. GG. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game against Mono Normal again. This team is looking pretty threatening. I do believe Porygon Z is going to be a massive threat to my team, as well as Lopunny, especially if it's a triple axle. So I do actually love Zapdos here, because even if they use Intimidate on Staraptor, they do increase my attack stage. So we're actually going to open up a Zapdos here, as they open up Lopunny. This is okay. They can fake me out, get some free damage, but I think I always value close combat. Regardless. Oh, I should have Brave Birded. That would have been a huge brain play. That did so much, considering it's not very effective. We're gonna go Corvi. Unless they Blaze Kick, we should be able to easily tank that. They do take some chip, and we can U-turn here and keep my momentum. Lopunny comes out. Oh, I can't actually intimidate because I'm scrappy, right? Let's just scout for triple axle, because they should click it if they have it. I'll U-turn again. This way, I think we always keep momentum, which is quite nice. Okay, so Ditto comes out, and they probably want to try and roost their HP back. Let me see in this position. Does Superpower get a KO? Superpower absolutely gets a KO here. Especially because it actually has less HP than 400. Because it's Ditto. Does Pursuit get a KO? Actually, it doesn't matter. Because anything swapping into Superpower dies. I will admit, I forgot the outspeed thanks to Choice Scarf. But even still, getting rid of Ditto opens up Zapdos so much in the endgame. I really love it. I think I want to roost once. Just because I do value this being healthy. As they've taken Snorlax. Now, I'm not 100% sure what Snorlax does to me, which is kind of scary. I don't think I value Honchkrow too much in the endgame. Oh, but Superpower is not going to break this, is it? Oh, that did a lot, actually. That did a lot more than I was expecting. Unfortunately, it's going to do roughly half that, which should still KO Snorlax. Because my attack did drop a stage, and they did raise the stage in defense. Thankfully, it was still powerful enough to kill. And now I think I value Honchkrow in the endgame for potentially Z Porygon. Z Porygon Z. By the looks of it, they don't seem to be triple axle, which is pretty good. In this position, Zapdos is very strong. We just click close combat. If they go into Staraptor, we get an increase to attack. Oh, they're reckless. Very interesting, actually. I was expecting that to be Intimidate. But by the looks of it, Corviknight can pretty much always swap in on Lopunny. And if they fake out, we'll always U-turn. If they U-turn turn 1, that would have been quite bad for me. Oh my, that did a lot of damage. But thankfully, this opens up Zapdos a lot to click close combat. It should 2-hit KO Chansey. It definitely 2-hit KOs Chansey. Unfortunately here, Corvi will die. But that's okay. Because it lets me pivot into my Zapdos, and I think that should be the game, because if they close combat, it opens up extreme speed on Dragonite a lot. Oh, they were actually triple axle all along. I don't know why they didn't click that earlier. But I mean, I'll accept it. GG, you too. So that was a very fun game. Quite a tough game, but thankfully Zapdos did a lot of work. If I Brave Birded the Ditto turn 1 or turn 2, that would have been excellent. But with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Psychic. Here, Honchkrow definitely does a ton of work, especially if I can get rid of Lele, opening up my Sucker Punch a lot in the end game. As well as that, I think I generally just like my U-turn spam, and we're going to open up with Landorus. They open Claydol. They could be Ice Beam, but they're probably not, and I'm going to knock them off turn 1. I expect them to be Stealth Rock. Oh, okay. their cosmic power. I kind of expected a Stealth Rock lead, perhaps, but I mean, getting rid of Claydol early is quite good, especially stopping it from setting up too many cosmic powers. That could have been quite an issue later in the game. So with that, it actually opens up, I think, my Honchkrow a lot. What does this do? I'm going to knock you off. Okay, it goes for screens. That's fine by me. Part of me wants to Stealth Rock here in case they double, but there's no reason for them to. So we'll just knock again here. In fact, what I'm going to do is Earthquake, just to try and actually waste one turn of their screens, as they end up swapping. I mean, nothing on their team particularly likes swapping into knockoff, so I'm not sure exactly what their thought process was here. Either way, Earthquake is still pretty good. It should take care of Victini or Metagross. I guess that makes sense. Lele is naturally the one that comes out here, so we can always go Corvi here. If they Mystical Fire, it's not the end of the world for me. They Psychic, and that looks to be specs based on that damage. We're actually going to defog away their everything. Their terrain, their screens. And they go into Victini. The only thing I think this could be to be a big threat to me right now is Z Celebrate. So we're going to go into Dragonite. And potentially a Ball Strike coming out. A V-Create comes out, even better. I'm going to get cheeky here and try Dance once in their face. As I don't think Earthquake is going to kill something like Tapu Lele, if that's what they choose to go into. And based on the damage Psychic did, it looks to be specs. Metagross comes out. I feel like +1 Earthquake kills. Yes, very much so. So if there were Ice Beam, that's that threat taken care of. And this actually opens up Extreme Speed a lot. Mega Alakazam could outspeed. And actually could be a threat too. So we're going to dance one more time. If they Ball Strike, that's okay. We can always go into Lando afterwards. As it doesn't even kill, it barely does half my remaining HP actually. So that second Dragon Dance means we can outspeed Alakazam. If it is Mega Alakazam. Extreme Speed wouldn't have KO'd a +1 because they copy my multiscale. Even still, will Dragon Claw KO? No, not even. Just goes to show you how good of a move or good of an ability multiscale is. Either way, we can take on Zapdos here, a new turn. Actually, does Brave Bird just win the game? I feel like Brave Bird wins here. It takes care of Xatu, and I'd be surprised if Lele lives. And if it does, we can always go into Corviknight afterwards, so it's not that big of a deal. And then Sucker Punch is very strong on Alakazam. Yeah, there we go. As expected, Zapdos is nice and strong. GG. There is no way Alakazam can survive. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Normal. Now, this could be a pretty tough game. Both Porygon Z and Ditto are big threats to my team. I do really like Honchkrow and Zapdos, though. Actually, Bewear is kind of a big threat, too. We're going to open up with Landorus, as they open Lopunny. Now, they could triple Axel, so what I'm going to do is go straight into Corvi and try U-turn to keep momentum. So they go for a fake out turn 1. I was too scared of a triple Axel coming out, so what we're going to do here is U-turn to keep momentum. Actually, Honchkrow is really good against Porygon Z. Especially if I manage to get some chip off on it. It's actually very strong. Speaking of, there it is. Part of me who just wants to go into Zapdos here and click Close Combat. Nothing particularly like swapping into it. I mean, Ditto isn't too bad. If I was crazy right now, I'd Brave Bird. I'm going to Brave Bird. And potentially Ditto coming out, because if they do Z-Convert, I still outspeed afterwards. And getting rid of Ditto is fantastic. Yes. That's so good for me. It opens up Zapdos so much in the end game. So now I can just click Close Combat. Lopunny comes in. We should always go Corvi. I'm going to go Lando first to intimidate the fake out. Oh, they have Scrappy. Bad play on my part. I completely forget Scrappy blocks Intimidate this gen. So, Triple Axel is still pretty strong. But we can afford to U-turn one more time. So Beware comes in. We can go into Charizard here, which almost certainly invites in Blissey. So what I'm going to do here is actually double into Honchkrow. And now we can pretty much get a KO with Superpower. So that's another big threat taken care of. That's kind of the biggest threat to, the biggest answer to their Charizard. Lopunny comes in. We always go Corvi. I kind of want to U-turn again, but I'm actually going to Roost once in case they Triple Axel. Because it's getting to the stage where 2 Triple Axels could potentially KO me. And then Lopunny is a massive threat to my team. Exactly. So we Roost once. And now we U-turn to keep momentum. Perfect. Keeping momentum is so strong in Corvi. They can potentially quick attack, so I'll go Lando here. And click Earthquake. Do I want to Stealth Rock? Actually, I'm going to Stealth Rock once. Just to start slowly chipping Porygon Z. If I can put it in Sucker Punch range of Honchkrow. After Z converts. That's ideal. Ooh, that did a lot of damage. Is that Banded? That's very strong. Either way, Corvi should live. I'm going to Roost once. Again, for the same reason, just making sure I'm well able to eat hits from Lopunny. Okay, this is going to Z-convert right now, so let's U-turn. Hopefully it's Ghost type. Perfect. So I'm pretty sure Honchkrow KOs this with Sucker Punch. Let's find out. Porygon Z. +1. Sucker Punch. It doesn't KO. 45 to 54. That's pretty bad, actually. I mean, Zapdos does outspeed. So worst case, I can always Brave Bird into Sucker Punch. This is probably Bolt Beam, right? I think that's the play. I think that's always the play. We just Brave Bird here. Oh, that just straight up kills? What? How's that so strong? Zapdos Brave Bird? Okay, that's just a good roll then, I suppose. Always go Corvi here. Honestly, I just wanted the chip to put it in range of Sucker Punch, but we take those. And then we U-turn. If I have to stall out all their Triple Axels, I will. But we can go Zap here. Part of me wants to U-turn on Beware, but we'll close combat. I don't think Beware is actually that big of a threat. Because Charizard pretty much instantly KOs it. And what we're going to do is actually just Dragon Dance in the thing's face. Until it chooses to KO me. Okay, that's doing nothing. We can afford to Dragon Dance one more time, but I think I'd rather just stop it from trying to set up a substitute. Because once this goes down, I just get in Charizard and pick up a KO. I could also go Zap. Or even, honestly, I can go Honchkrow here. Should I go Honchkrow? It really puts the pressure on my opponent. Yeah, let's try Honchkrow. Because now Sucker Punch puts a lot of pressure on my opponent. It probably won't kill Lopunny, but it should put it, I believe, maybe in Iron Head range. And if Lopunny comes in and fakes me out... Nope, we just took a lot of damage to us. So in this position, I've kind of forced Diggersby's hand into clicking Quick Attack if it wants to kill Zapdos. So yeah, I think this is a guaranteed win for me. If they Quick Attack, I go Corvi. They actually sack Diggersby. So they want to try killing the Fake Out. But it's not going to be enough. I outspeed. We sack Lando here. It's completely useless at this point in the game. As I said earlier, I'm not beneath stalling out triple axles if that's what I have to do. So I'm pretty sure Ironhead wins the position, but I'm just going to roost out their triple axles. If they are power up punch, Zapdos outspeeds and they have no priority to outspeed, I win. If they're a quick attack, for example, I don't think they can kill Zapdos. GG. So that's another win in the bag, and with that, we're going to be right back. Have a good day too if you're watching this. Thank you for being a good sport. Have a good day, and we'll be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Fire. They don't seem to be a sun-heavy fire team, which is interesting. It kind of helps me out a small bit, I suppose. But either way, I do like Honchkrow a lot. Incineroar is going to be kind of scary. I don't care for Corviknight in this game. We're going to open Lando again. They don't have any super obvious defogger. I'm willing to sack Corvi here. Oh, they go into Incineroar. I guess they could have Court Change on Ace, maybe. So that's U-turn. Unfortunately, that screams to them, hey, I'm not Choice Scarf Lando. Oh, this weakness policy set. Let's just go ahead and knock that weakness policy before you become too much of an issue for me. Just so I can Earthquake freely here. Chesto? It's Chesto Resto? Interesting. We Earthquake. They're probably building up for a power trip. And unfortunately for them, it doesn't do anything. I wonder, did I even need to knock there? That's the question. Okay. This thing is a massive threat to my party, my team. I think we sack Corvi again. I'd rather sack Corvi to this than something like Blacephalon and give it a +1. Obviously, that dies there. The question is, what's the next best play? My Zard should live, and honestly, I don't really see Zard having too much of a use in the later game. Yeah, I think we go Zard here. I'm gonna click Flamethrower. A bit of chip. That's pretty good. In fact, I think that puts it in range of Honchkrow. Unfortunately, we're die here. Let's check if this is in range of Honchkrow now. If not, it should be in range of my Zapdos. So, Charizard. Mega Charizard. Where are you, Mega Charizard? Why? Sucker Punch does 65 to 77. That is very good. I feel like Sucker Punch is super obvious, though. I think I still have to go for it. I really want to Pursuit. Okay, nice. Getting rid of Zard is excellent for me. Now, what do they take in? Blacephalon? The Sucker Punch is too obvious, right? I have to go for it. I was worried they'd be like Trick, maybe, or like Substitute Flame Charge. But it was so obvious I had to go for it. Volcarona comes in. We're just gonna Brave Bird this, I think, because even if they kill me straight out, I can Revenge KO with Zapdos. Please don't burn. Nice. I take a ton of chip, but wow, that is strong. They could sucker punch me here. They do indeed. Okay, that's fine. Honestly, life warp chip on this is not a bad thing. I have no option but to attack. Let's just get a bit of chip here, and then we can go into Lando. I feel like Dragonite wins the end game. I'll Quake. Okay, they are Balloon Heatran. So what I need to do here is probably break their balloon. I can do that with close combat Zapdos, and then I think Dragonite wins the endgame. And Stealth Rock should guarantee that I kill that stupid rabbit. Okay. I hope I didn't throw there. I think close combat should win the game here. All I need to do is break this balloon and then Earthquake into extreme speed. Should win the end game. Nice. So you're going to take 25% coming in, 10% from Life Orb, and then honestly, extreme speed should win. GG. So with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we finished up with a respectable 33rd on the ladder. Probably not the best, considering the fact flying is such an amazing type. I do think I could have pushed it higher. However, I don't want this video to go on for too long because I do have a lot of other videos to record and a lot of things in the pipeline, especially now that I'm finishing up with the NatDex after like one more type, I think. So with that, let's discuss the team from here. So that is going to be it for Mono Flying. Overall, it was a very fun type to use. I'm really happy I put in work with Honchkrow. It was kind of one of the main inspiring reasons I wanted to use Flying. Well, I was going to use Flying NatDex anyway, but Honchkrow is one of the ones I was looking forward to using, and I wanted to make sure it was a prevalent part of the team. So yeah, very fun team overall, especially for a type I'm not exactly confident with. I feel like there's so much flying can do that it's almost overwhelming at times, so I'm happy to do pretty well. And I didn't have to use Celesteela either, which is kind of the main thing, the main reason I use this team. With that said, if you did like, leaving a like, a comment, sharing this video with a friend, all that kind of stuff, really helps me out so much as a small creator. I truly appreciate it. I've had a lot of time the last 2 weeks to get a lot of work done for new videos, so once I get around to editing those, they're all voiced over, so hopefully look forward to those. I have a good month of content, if I may say so myself, hopefully. And with that, I'll catch you next time, everyone. Take care, and have a great day.